Well, good morning everyone, and thank you for joining us. Willem is our guest teacher again today. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for coming
Thank you.
and joining in. It's such a pleasure to have a bit of company on the floor, and thank you very much to yourselves as well for joining us for another Chen style Ilu form. So we're going to get started. Let's take right hand in a fist, please. Left hand straight, pull back the thumb with feet together, hands together. We'll salute Willem officially. Lao Shi Hao.
Lao Shi Hao.
Thank you very much. And Xie San Hao. And let's relax down and we'll just get started with a little bit of warming up. We open our stance, shoulder width and feet level. We float up through the top of the head. Wow, doesn't that make a difference straight away? And let's do our full body spiral. So this technique, as you know, is by moving the center, the whole body moves. We want to feel all of the joints in a knock-on effect by turning the center and keeping structure. Everything moves. Now, when I do this, I think of those beautiful aerial things that they do at the circus. You know, when they have a rope or a big ribbon hanging down from the rafters, and they're spinning it, and you get this beautiful sort of bowed out effect, but the whole length of the material is in movement. And that's what we're wanting. You will find that there's areas that are moving more, the center moves more, and there are areas that there seems to be less, but everything moves. So, feel to the crown of your head, feel to the floor with your feet. Very good. Let's change direction. I often find it very interesting in Tai Chi that the first movements we are given tend to be really, what's that word? I can't think of the word, but they're not easy. You know, they are full on. You'll find that in form, the beginning of the form, there is a lot of technique involved. And similarly in this practice, even though the concept is simple, isn't it? It's just move your center and let everything be moved. That's an easy concept. And yet it is a full body coordinated effort. But the interesting thing is, when you practice, it sorts itself out. It's actually going to teach you how to do it by doing it. As long as we keep our structure, keep the top of the head lengthening, and feel the whole body as a unit. So think of like a piece of bamboo swaying in the wind, as opposed to just a bag of sticks being moved around. Good, very nice. Back to center. So the biggest obstacle that we have, especially in the West, is that we get an exercise and we go, okay, and we do it for a very short time and go, okay, what's next? Whereas actually in Kung Fu, all exercises that you are given, you can take away and work at endlessly. And it's the working at these exercises that is the thing that's going to make them really pop. So let's take the weight into one side and lift the heel, if you can, balance on the toes and gently circle. And it is that effort of just repetition, 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 with patience and conscious awareness. That is what makes the difference between someone just starting out in Tai Chi and someone who's really getting somewhere. And let's not fool ourselves. You could be starting out in Tai Chi for 30 years if you don't take on the principle of practice. Change direction, please. And I'm telling myself this as well, because we can get lazy. So just keep chipping away and you will make progress. Very good, and shake out. And on the other side. Keep the hips level. I'm trying these days to balance on the tip of my toes, and that's not easy for me because I have a bit of arthritis in my big toes, I think from my ballet days. But actually, that kind of helps in a way because we don't want to put weight on the toe. Change direction. We want to keep the structure so that the foot is empty of weight, but it's still grounded, it's still rooted. And that means we have freedom of movement and we're not hurting ourselves. But it's difficult because we want to keep the hips level. I'm working on it. Yeah, good, shaking up. So we're chipping away. Good. All right, so let's take a wider stance, deeper stance. Sit back. Now you can see nicely there, Willem's side view. The whole body sits back. Willem, just for a second, can you do it wrong and just bend your knees? Okay, do you see the difference? That's wrong. Now sit back. That's correct. So if we just bend our knees go forwards and they take on our body weight with no support underneath them, so we'll hurt ourselves. Whereas if you sit back, the whole body remains upright, the knees are supported by the feet, and we have happy knees. So we're just going to
Blackout.
I was just thinking this is really the one-legged one, isn't it? The big one?
That's the way I do it, but
Yeah, me too. So with this one, we've kind of jumped about a bit in the warm-up. We're just thinking of one leg. I know we're on both legs, but we're just doing an out, forwards, in and back motion with one leg. It's not a big movement. I know the big stance makes it look like we're doing a big movement, but it's really quite subtle. You're just taking a journey around one leg. You let the other side sort itself out, so you do end up in a figure of 8 in your hips. It may be quite subtle, but it's there, especially when you relax and breathe and stop talking. Good. Good. All right, let's change sides, please. I don't know if you can see the little figure of 8 rock there. So we go out, forwards, in and back. This is a one-directional exercise. It's unusual, but we do have them in Tai Chi. So normally we do everything both sides. This one, we just go inwards. Are you breathing? Do you feel your legs are working? Good, all right. Is that about even? Yeah, let's come in. And shaking out. Let us do knees up. Good. And I'm going to do a little, I'm going off script here for a second. We're going to do a little Qigong for length, where we're going to swing the arms up and back like that. Yeah, Willem's got it. Okay. So a little bit like you're walking, but we're going to just stay static-ish. We're going to bring the opposite foot forwards. Yeah. Yeah. And back. Yeah. See what I mean? So you're standing and you're just swinging one leg forwards and back. Good. This is a nice qigong exercise, and once you build up the stamina, you can do about 100 of these on both sides. And once you've got your balance, you can do aerial, just pull the toes back and breathe. It's a nice cardiovascular workout. Good, but for now we're just introducing it. Let's swap over on the other side. So it's the opposite hand to foot that comes forwards, basically. Yes, and back. Breathe. Keep the top of the head lengthening up, the shoulders relaxed. That's a nice one, isn't it? Gets the blood pumping, but it gets the lymph pumping as well. And then if you want, you can try aerial, pull the toes back. I do like having exercises in the repertoire that don't require a lot of space. And this one, you need to be able to swing your arms and legs, but there's no actual stepping involved, unless you fall over. Good, and rest. Well done. And ease out of your stance. So a nice one for pumping lymph. Remember, the lymph is your waste disposal system, so it helps with the immune system. And I tell you what, I feel it. Whenever you do a lymph exercise, afterwards, you'll feel thirsty. That's a very indicative experience. So I'm going to have a sip of water. If you would like to, you can grab a sip of water too. And we'll do one or two more wee exercises, and then we'll get into the form. So cheers. Today we are on lime and ginger and cinnamon in hot water. Cheers. Oh, that's better. Good. And maybe later on we'll have a little pinch, a grain of Celtic salt to balance it all out. Good. Okay, now let's do the exercise that I meant to do a minute ago before I distracted myself. So let us widen our stance, please. And again, we're going to sit back and down with the whole body, and we just do our little rotation of center. So here we just want to keep those hips and lower legs steady, but be nice and free and loose within the waist. So we're turning inside the hips without turning the hips. And of course you could go wider, you could go deeper, doesn't matter, but it is important again that we look after those knees. So if the knees are going too far forwards, it's a no. Maybe see the tip of our cat's tail as she walks past. Good. And let's come up a bit. And very soft, very gentle, brush the hands over the surface of water. Good. So we really want to emphasize awareness in this exercise. Listen to your hands. Listen to the air flowing through your fingertips, brushing the palms of your hands. Beautiful. Well done, folks, and rest. Good. Easing from your stance. See how you feel. Notice, does anything need stretch? Might do a leg stretch. Yeah. Good, okay. So, with feet parallel, if you can please, we're just going to send the foot forwards and bring it down. Good, now that gives you quite a narrow stance, but that's what we're looking for. And we're going to do 3 little rowing action movements, trying to keep the heel down at the back, just easing ourselves into the stretch and glide down to just above the knee. Lengthening the spine, keeping the weight back, keeping the knee gently back so that you're stretching the back of your leg, and keep breathing. Good, let's release and pull those toes back, taking hold, same side, hand and foot. Good, and relax, feed the weight forwards and up you come. I will give you a wee link to a video of that Qigong exercise. There's a lovely lady, I can't remember her, whatever it is, her page, but I'll give a link in the YouTube video to her lymph exercise video where she does that movement 100 times with you on both sides. Something to look forward to. Right, on the other side please, we kick it out and we step down and we do 3 circles. I'm terrible with names, it's awful. But I'd like to acknowledge her and her work. Right, so ready, we feed the weight back and glide down to just above the knee. Lengthen the spine. Breathe into the stretch. Good, pull those toes back, taking hold, same side. Lovely, and let's relax down. And just when you're ready, up you come. Lovely, easing from your stance. Have a little shake out. Again, I'm going to give you a moment to just do your own thing. You can have a little stretch if you like. Willem, if you want to lead a stretch or something, I'm going to get a drink and a pinch of salt here.
Maybe just do whatever feels good for yourself, 'cause we're all different. So just move freely or stand or whatever feels good at the moment. Just check through your body, see what needs your attention.
Very good. It's actually one of the hardest things to ask people to do in a class, is to just check in with themselves. I quite often see folks just standing there going, I'm not sure what to do. But literally, like, you can just go into Wuji, so you're lengthening up through the top of the head, the chin down and back, and allowing everything to release down. And as you breathe, you'll be able to let go through your breaths and feel into the various parts of your body, or simply just open your awareness. And if you're listening for the parts of the body that need attention, they will present themselves. And we're used to that, actually. We're used to our body going, oi! You know, it tends to be when there's pain. If you get a headache or if your leg hurts, It's not a question of having to do investigation, it just tells you. But this practice of listening and tuning in gives you a more subtle guidance, as opposed to just waiting until something is really hurting. So it's very, very useful. It's a really good exercise to do anytime, even if you're not in a class, to just take a moment and breathe and listen and go, okay, what can I feel? What's going on here now? As opposed to, we often just ignore our bodies to get on with life, to be social. But paying attention is very, very important, isn't it? Good. Okay, let's do our form now, please. So we're going to go through all 4 stages of the form. I think what we might do, with enough time probably to do it twice, or at least to do once through all the way, and maybe some parts. How would it be if we tag teamed? So we'll do part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. That will be hopefully making it clear where the end of one part is and the beginning of the next part is. Not that that matters hugely, apart from if you're struggling with an area and you want to ask about it. If you go, that part in part 2, this part, it's more clear than, that part. It's a big form. So Willem, would you like to do part 1? And I'll take over for part 2. So at the end of each section, we're just going to hold the position for a moment, and we can close, and we'll take a breath, we'll do a swap over, we'll go back into that position, and then we'll go on into the next part. So, thank you. Okay, enjoy.
Getting ready, feet together, stand tall, head floating up, relax down. And opening stance, Verlauja Ili. And begin. Speed okay, Jane?
Yeah. End of part 1. Good, just hold it for a moment please and check your posture. Relax down into your centre and close. Well done. Good, so we're going to tag team it. Okay. How's the speed so far, folks? Happy enough? Good, excellent. All right, so from the end of part 1, let's check posture. Relax to center. Get ready. Start. No matter how big the room is, I always seem to run out of space. Something to work on. High pad on horse, relax to center, kicking section. Left gathers right, roll down to the left, left side steps across. Prepare, arms up and kick. Step down, twist, prepare, kick, and turn to face the back. Gather up the left, turn palms, kick, 3 steps. Planting flowers. Monkey holds peach. Protect the heart. Prepare to kick right, toy soldier, three-way punch. Prepare. Punch. End of part 2. Check posture. Relax to center. And close. Tag team.
Okay,
Good.
I got it. So from the punch, let's come back into punching position and begin. Find your balloon. Rotate. finished, Jane?
There. Well, actually, that's a good point. In that movement, some finish where Willem is now, and some finish when you sweep up to the ear. So bring the backhand into the ear, and that's where Jill stops for the end of part 3. Well done. So you can rest. Good. Lovely. Tag team. So where are we? Don't want to be too far away. Okay, so okay. So are we ready? We check posture and relax to center. Get ready and start. I'm out of space again. Yeah. I did one extra, didn't I? Sorry. Doesn't matter. Okay, so we're at the end game. Ready? This is your special punch down. Uppercut. cube structure. Good stuff, well done everybody. Boy, do you know, some days you'll feel that it just goes like clockwork and it all feels lovely, and some days it will just feel terrible. Yeah, I'm not having the best day. It just doesn't feel so clean in movement, but that's part of the training, unfortunately. And as always, the thing to sort it out is standing. And I notice when I do a good stand every day, then my practice is a lot cleaner. It just feels more slick. Everything is in place. And if I go like yesterday, I did a very minimal stand, barely existent, and I feel the repercussions today. It's just not as clean. But that's part of Tai Chi. Not every experience you'll have will be great. But if we keep working away, even when it's not the best, we will lay the foundations for our next good experience. So let's just keep chipping away is the thing. Willem, do you have anything to say about any of the form?
I think it's good if they stretch more, energy go into the hands.
Yes,
more.
I noticed that as well, yeah. When we do this tag teaming, it means that one of us can sneakily sit off to the side and have a wee look at you and see how you're getting on. And he noticed the same thing that I did. I think it's possibly a symptom of trying to practice our Tai Chi in a smaller space, in a sitting room space. You're not wanting to knock ornaments off the walls, and you know it's more confined. So the temptation is to just make everything a little bit smaller. But we want to have what we call Peng. Peng in Tai Chi means expansion. So it doesn't mean that we're just kind of pushing ourselves out, but rather like a house plant. If you see a healthy house plant, it has this kind of open, full structure. Whereas if you see it's lost water, it hasn't been watered for a while, it starts to kind of wilt. And we can, I see it sometimes in class as well, that folks, they're doing all the work, but it's all just kind of a bit wilted, it's a bit smaller. And often I see it in people and I think they're trying to conserve energy. And I think that by doing this, it will conserve energy. And actually it's the opposite. If you can do this for me, just lift your hands out and just kind of be floppy for a second. Yeah, just let your arms dangle and hold that and keep breathing and relaxing. It's not actually easy to hold and it'll get heavy very quickly. The reason being, it's like the flaccid plant. It's not getting the energy, it's not getting the flow that supports it. So now from that stance, expand. Keep it in front of you, so from the side you can see it's here. I'm not going out to this absolute side, but keep it in front of you and feel to the fingers and think of gently extending and filling through the fingers and notice the difference. So this is energizing. It is actually energizing to be more full and to expand more than if we go back to the floppiness, go into flop. Flop is actually going to exhaust you more. Now I'm exaggerating, no one was doing it that floppily, but see if you can fill your space a little bit more. Fill your arms and legs, extend and be more I can't think of any other word than full. Can you think of a word, Willem?
Open.
Open, yes. Let everything be a little bit open, a little bit fuller. And something that I noticed, or that was pointed out directly to me by a master over in China, it was Master Li De Yin, not Li De Rin, who's very famous, but Li De Yin, who was one of my masters in Yang style. And he was saying the same thing to me, but it was more, I was just kind of going through the motions and just doing it physically. Just doing whatever I was doing physically. And he said, okay, look at this girl. And she was embodying everything. It was bigger and bolder and more out rather than just going through physical mechanics. Do you see the difference if I do this? That's a physical mechanical movement. Whereas if I do this, it's fuller. Did you see a difference? Did you see a difference? Yeah. So think bigger. Think of embodying and being energetically buoyant, and let your movements expand. So it doesn't mean you have to lift them way up. When I was watching Willem, I noticed that he's doing it right for him. But he's a very tall man with long limbs. So it may look like he's doing really big movements, but actually he's just doing the movements that are right for his body size. I'm smaller, and shorter limbs, so my movements are actually going to look different. We're embodying the same essence, or we're trying to, but it will express differently between us. But both of us, whether it's Willem, can you come with me, Willem?
Yeah.
So, for example, what should we do? White crane opens its wings, yeah? So we're going to step back on the right and turn and turn and open. Now you can see, maybe, maybe not, but he's a bigger frame, so his hand's going to be higher, but in relation to the rest of his body, we're in the same stance. So we have to, thank you, so we have to fill our body with energy, expand and express, but to your size, to your height. So more often than not, we use the point underneath the nose, between the nose and the lips. That's, say for example, cloud hands, that's as high as your hand will ever get. You're not lifting it higher. So it's not a question of higher, 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 no. We want an upper limit so we can see over our hands, but we want it to be full as opposed to carrying and being floppy. Again, if we fill it, can you do that for me? Do a silk reeling. So we turn and shoulder, elbow, hands, fingertips, feel to the fingertips, feel full. Does everything feel expanded? Does everything feel energized? Good. And continue release. So here we're relaxing. The energy is flowing back up, but we're not collapsing. So it's relaxing, not collapsing, and return to center. And again here, it's a rest movement. We're not trying to puff ourselves out, but there's still a buoyancy. Maybe we could go back to silk reeling just to finish, because that's a nice wind down and it's easy to apply this feeling of fullness.
Key is you want to feel a big difference between the yin and the yang, between energy going back to center as it is now, and energy going from center along the back, along the arm, all the way to the hand.
Absolutely, yes. We want to feel a difference, but it doesn't mean, yin does not mean collapsed or flopped. It's simply rest. So we can be buoyant, but restful, And then with the yang movement, we want to feel more assertive, like you're pushing the wardrobe door. There is, yeah, go ahead.
Another way Jill phrases it is center feeds out to the whole body, so the energy feeds out to the extremities, and the whole body supports the center. So when your hand comes in, it's like a hug. Everything supports your dantian. And then from the dantian, feed out all the way to the extremities, hands and feet. And then the whole body comes back to support the center.
Oh, I like that. It's like a hug. Yeah, it is. That's very good. Let's just change arms just to finish. And keep going, please. At one stage I thought it was a good idea to set an alarm to tell me to stop teaching, but yeah, I keep an eye on the time anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I really like that concept of it's like a hug, because as I say, some days when you're training, you'll feel like you're just doing it so well, and other days, oh, everything just doesn't quite go to plan. But every time when you return to center, you just feel that support. It's like a hug. It's a sort of emotional.
Sounds like you need a hug.
I need a hug. Training on these mats, we have these 2 centimeter deep mats, foam mats. They're Marshall mats, so they're great for throwing people onto because you won't hurt yourself, and they're great for, you know, tumbling and doing floor work. They're nice and warm, but they have so much give in them. You really have to be very structurally sound, or you wobble all over the place. And I felt today I was wobbling, which is not what you want when you're doing Tai Chi. You want to be rooted and calm and steady. So
it's a bit of a spongy floor.
It's a spongy floor. But you know what? It's good to train on different surfaces because it gives us, how to say, plasticity. We're able to adapt. So I need to stop complaining and suck it up and do the work. Oh, okay, very good, folks. So something to work on, please. Your form is very good. Your knowledge of the form is sound, but we need to get that energy flowing and supporting your structures a little bit more. Let it expand. Let Peng express. And you'll actually find you feel a lot more energy when you do your movements fuller. Well done, one more time. And let's bring the foot in. Good, very nice. It was really nice actually that we both picked up on the same thing. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, it's just another stage in development. And as I say, especially when we're practicing in small spaces, there is the tendency to be a little bit more contained, but actually fill your space with your energy and be aware of where your body is, so you won't be hitting ornaments. You can adapt, as you see we often have to, but fill your space, own the movement and feel that energy flow.
That's the thing, if you're learning a big choreography and if you're not familiar with parts of the choreography, yeah, just follow the hands, it's fine. But the steps you are familiar with, try to get that energy feeling. So you're not just doing choreography, but the energy is part of your movement. So use that a bit more. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well done. That was a nice theme for today. Folks, thank you so much for coming and working so hard with us. And thank you for Willem as well. So let's say thank you to the teachers, thank you, and thank you to the students, thank you very much. As Willem says, future masters, in his style of Charlie Futt. Shaolin style of martial arts, they would have pictures of the deceased masters, the ancestors who have passed down the knowledge. They would have that on one wall, and then on another wall they would have pictures of the present masters, those who are passing down the information now. And in every class they have a lovely routine that they will salute to the past masters and then salute to the present masters, and then they salute each other and say to the future masters. And I just think that's so lovely. It's a really nice thing that it's reminding us that everyone has it in them to master yourself and your art. It's not for the elite, it's for everyone to be the best you can be. So thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next time.